happen, I'd say even in the last 3 or 4 days, because again, like John Tavares signs on Friday, and there were other deals over the course of the weekend, like Noah Dobson being traded.
Oh yeah, that seemed. You're right. Hey, those seems like 3 years ago.
That could if you told me those happened last year, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, we already know that.
We haven't even talked about the draft and how that all looked and transpired and broke down.
I felt bad for the Hagen. Was it the Hagen's kid?
Hagens. Yeah, to Boston.
And thanks for drafting me, guys. I just have to say, for anybody in the National Hockey League, and I know it's not our people doing it, we don't have the rights for it anymore, but if you are going to do something outside the box, and I'm being dead serious when I say this, you got to go to James Duthie and give him some money and say, you got to tell us, like, you got to have that guy involved. Him and the people that he works with at TSN, whether it be the Quizmaster, Lanesy, those are the guys that know how to do that. You can't start wheeling around with secret rooms and video rooms. You have no idea what you're doing. Duthie knows what he's doing. Like, I razz on the guy and we screw around. That guy knows what the hell he's doing. That was horrendous, man.
Well, like, the league tried something, which I will give them credit.
Yeah.
They have been creative and tried different things in the past. And it was a decentralized draft, and they wanted the connection between the player and the
by all
room
accounts, Gary was just doing right.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the league. It was the GMs were pushing for it.
Yeah, they said to Jerry, "We want this," and Jerry gave it to him and said, "Suck on that one." How do you like that now? That was.
But here's the thing: you're right about Duthie. I echo everything you said. That is an impossible job for those broadcasters that were involved to try to get something out of an 18-year-old hockey player. That just is never going to say anything. Yeah, it's really great. I'm so excited. Like, that's all you're going to get. And then the GMs, who are 2,000 kilometers away, they're not the big personalities. There's no GM in the league that's a big. They're just, hey, we're great to have you.
Welcome to the club. Great to see you.
Exactly. Welcome to the club, young man. You know, it's like, oh God, like really?
Yeah.
That's
we were
what
born to wear black and gold.
It's just the lamest stuff.
Dude.
So it's the GMs, and then it's not the players' fault. They're kids. But you're not getting anything creative out of either parties. It's an impossible job. You could put the greatest stand-up comic of all time with a mic in front of that 18-year-old kid, and it would die on the vine. It would be a horrible, horrible product, and that's ultimately what it was. Anyway, forget the draft. Who cares about the draft? This hour, Mitch Marner signed and trade with the Vegas Golden Knights. I think everyone was prepared for this, but we had been, talking about it for months. Where's he going to go? What's the best fit? I will say this: I think it's a great fit for Marner. Like Vegas, they're a very good team. They have high expectations. He'll step in there. I think Eichel's ahead of him clearly on the totem pole, right? Like Eichel will play the role of Matthews effectively, so I think he'll be comfortable with that. You got Mark Stone, who's a great leader. Doesn't sound like Petrangelo's playing anytime soon, so he won't be around. But Theodore's there, Hurdle. Like, there's other big dogs there.
A lot of good players.
A lot of good players, a lot of veterans. And what I'm driving at is he doesn't have to go there. Like, if he's going to Chicago, it'd be like, you're the man now. Yes. You're the guy. You got to drag us somewhere. He doesn't have to do that in Vegas. And he gets, I think, an appropriate contract, gets paid a fair amount of money. And he gets as far away from Toronto as you can basically get.
I would bet that would be a massive thing because I played a long time in Carolina. He's going to go to a grocery store and a gas station and not one word. Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Yeah, it'll be a totally different lifestyle for him.
Yeah, I bet you after 2 or 3 months he'll say, that to me is one of the biggest factors. I don't know. There's something about being a celebrity in Toronto where you're like, hey, what's going on? Don't tell me that not everybody gets a kick out of that.
Well, his life will be different.
A lot different, and that's part of the appeal to him, probably, Jamie.
But there'll be pressure within the organization, Noodles.
Of course,
right?
100%.
Like he better pull his weight and help them win.
The business of hockey has not changed. And put it this way: Vegas is in win or lose or win or bust mode as well, and they have been since the minute they stepped into the league. That team made the finals in their first year. They won a Stanley Cup in their 6th year. They're trying to get back there. And they felt they had a really good team last year that came up short. Now, they didn't have their goods against Edmonton, and Edmonton played very well. But that team's really good. And regardless if he's got 8 times 12 or whatever, the pressure's on him to perform. It's just a different type of. The business of hockey is still the same. Everything that comes with it, outside of it, is going to be a lot different.
Yeah,
for his life.
I think it's. Listen, the lifestyle is big, but I'm not sure the grass is going to be greener on the other side because of a couple of different things. In Toronto, like his experience as a Leaf, he was granted an easing in process, right? Like when the four of them arrived, the three of them arrived, Matthews, Nylander, and Marner, they were. Right. It was so celebrated that they were here. The team had been a disaster for a decade prior.
It was hope.
It was hope, and they didn't have to do anything for 3 or 4 years. Nothing. Like, they made the playoffs their first year, and that's all that had to happen. The second year, thanks for going back. Like, once they got through the third or fourth year, then it started to change. The tune started to change. You're not going to get that in Vegas. He's aware of that, but you're not getting an easing in process in Vegas. Right. You better hit the ground running. Also, there was an element of protection from the other guys who came in with him, right? Matthews and Nylander and then Tavares. And the Leafs did a very good job of protecting him. In Vegas, like, you're the big fit. He may be the highest paid player on the team. Well, he will be. $12 million is the highest paid player on the team immediately.
Yes.
So if you're, again, I'm not talking the fan in Vegas. I'm talking the organization saying there's no, you don't.
Foley.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk to that guy. Mark Stone's won already. You better do it. You got to do it. Mark Stone's one for me. Jack Eichel's one for me. What are you going to do for me? Because Bill Foley, you just mentioned the owner. I just gave you more money than I've ever given anyone in my life.
Yeah.
You better step in and play.
You're not going on the ice with the best goal scorer in the world at every shift anymore. Eichel's a great player.
Yes.
He's one of the best two-way players in the league, but you're going to have to make some things happen out there. That's what I'm curious to see how it's going to play out because he's been so good here for so long. But he hasn't exactly been going out on the ice with a bunch of turkeys. Like he's been going.
He's played with either Matthews or Tavares basically his whole run here for the most part.
It'll probably be either Eichel or Hurdle, which are two very good players.
Very good.
The other thing too is, keep in mind, this is something that I know you guys may scoff at a little bit. The West plays a lot different style than the East. The West is bigger and more physical, and that's it. The East is, skill, and people are going to say, well, the Stanley Cup winners are physical. 100%. I'm just saying the Western Conference as a whole, that style is a lot different. And that team, that Vegas team they're big, they're physical. He's going to add skill, but his game might have to adapt a little bit to the way that Vegas likes to play. Bruce Cassidy's going to say, this is how we forecheck. This is what we do. It's a different style. It's a different thought process, the way that they play hockey in Vegas compared to Toronto.
Yep.
It's not right or wrong. It's just different. So he's going to have to – there's going to be an adjustment period, too, where he's going to want to make a play, and they go, oh, well, we do this. Okay.
Well, and that's an interesting connection. Like their coach, Bruce Cassidy, he was the guy in Boston in 18 and in 19, right, when Boston beat the Leafs. But there's also, with Toronto, I think the hope always was that he would stay here his whole career, be a legacy guy, number retired, Legends Row, all that kind of stuff, and eventually win a cup here. Vegas, I don't think they don't have the same loyalty built in. Like the clock starts immediately, and you got to pull your weight. And Mitch will be great during the regular season. That's not up for debate. You're right. There's going to be, you got to grant him some time to find his way and all that kind of stuff. Like he's still a human and he's going down there, but he's a great, great player, and he'll fit in. And he's a guy that's capable of, I think, playing with almost anybody. But you're right. It's a different system, different style, different expectation. Now you're highest paid guy on the team. They have an uber attraction to winning and dedication to that. And he's going somewhere where he's not familiar with it. So
dedication to it is a non-negotiable thing. Like either do it or think about how they have those real time, how things have changed, like time lapses. Like that team, since their inception, first year all went to the finals, and then it's let's change this, and then they won a cup. And they move fast, man.
Here's another one, man. They got the biggest guy. Mitch Marner was number 1 on the free agent frenzy list. They got him. You know,
Yep.
like Vegas just never stops. You're right. They just keep moving on and moving on. And, you know, if you're the Leafs, you get Nicholas Waugh in return, who's a third or fourth line player, good player.
Third line. Yeah.
Third line. Okay, you think he'll play on the third line? You think he'll play center on the third line?
No,
Or
I
he'll
think
play on the
he's
wing?
a third line right winger, if you ask me.
Okay.
That's where I think.
Yeah, he can
falls.
take draws and everything, but he's a good player. He's like a good, solid player,
Solid,
big body, and
Yep, that's
an
my-
effective player. But he's not like
Well, he's not
he's
Mitch
not a
Marner,
needle.
obviously.
No,
Yeah.
he's not a needle mover or kind of game changer. He's just a real solid player.
Well, right now on the Leafs depth chart, on the third line right wing, you know, take your pick. They had Nick Robertson. They have a Yarncroke. He's an upgrade over either one of those.
Yeah.
Now Robertson's more of a smaller, tries to goal scorer type of guy or shooter type of thing. Nicholas Waugh knows how to play. Like, he's an up and down heavy player who can score. He's got hands and stuff. So I think he's their third line right winger, just based on how the team is constructed right now.
Well-
and again, they're not even. Let's give it 2 months, 2.5 months, because
Yeah.
I still think Tree's just getting going here.
Yeah, and the question will be, again, what they're willing to give up to go for it right now. Like, if you're the Maple Leafs, if you're Brad Treliving, because, again, the cupboards are not overly stocked. You know, like, you've got Easton Cowan, you've got a couple of other prospects within your system, but you don't have a first-round pick for the next 2 years. How are you acquiring these other guys who could be available? That's what I'm curious about, because it's not